My name's Mara Diaz. I'm with the Surfrider Foundation, and I'm going to be talking about how we've been able to successfully build partnerships through our Blue Water Task Force volunteer water testing program to enhance public health protection at the beach. For a quick introduction, Surfrider Foundation is a nonprofit grassroots organization. Our mission is the protection and enjoyment of our world's ocean waves and beaches. We're organized into a grassroots network of volunteer-run chapters located in nearly every coastal state. And as our chapters work to meet our mission of protection and enjoyment of our ocean and beach, we want to make sure that the water quality is protected, and we want to reduce pollution so it's safe to surf, swim, and play at the beach and in any coastal water. One of the programs we run in order to do this is our Blue Water Task Force. It's our volunteer water testing program. Before COVID hit, we had a national network of over 50 labs located across the country, where our citizen scientists were providing critical water quality information to protect public health at the beach, raise awareness of local pollution problems, and to really bring together communities to track the sources of pollution and implement solutions. Some of the basics of our program is we're out there testing not only official lifeguarded beaches, but ocean and bay beaches, coastal waterways where people like to recreate, as well as freshwater sources of pollution that can discharge onto the beach. Our chapters really set up their sampling plans in order to complement agency-run beach programs. So whereas state or county beach programs oftentimes are seasonal, we're out there testing year round, and we're covering surf spots and areas where people like to paddle and just swim in the water. All of our data is posted online on our website. This happens to be the sampling map of our chapter in Miami. You can see they're sampling ocean beaches as well as some in the intercoastal waterway there. All of our data is displayed according to the state relevant beach action values that are used. So for instance, in Florida, our site indicators go red once a bacterial level is measured that's above 70, because 70 is the beach action value used in Florida. Most of our chapters then take this information and they send it out to their followers and subscribers via email, as well as posting it on social media. You can also click on any of our sites that we test and pull up all of the past historical data that we have. This is the site information specific from 73rd Street in Miami. And you can see we share all of the actual bacteria counts there. It's all downloadable from our website. And we have some nice stats, summary stats that sort of show how clean any particular beach is and what the most recent information is telling us about the safety of the water quality there. This is a map of those 50 labs, 50 plus labs before COVID hit. Last spring we had to put a stop on all our testing while many states were under stay-home orders. But we've actually done a pretty good job, and we have 40 of these labs now have been able to restart their testing. Where we haven't been able to do that, that's generally where our chapters are partnering with local aquariums that have not reopened yet since the pandemic hit, as well as local high schools. Oftentimes our lab equipment is located in those science labs, and with the schools closed, we just don't have access to that space right now. And mostly this is in Southern California where we have those partnerships. But I think over 40 labs going since the pandemic, we're pretty pleased with the coverage we've been able to provide. None of our programs would be able to run without the partner power that we have. All of our chapters are run by volunteers, as I said, and most of them don't have physical space, office space, where they're able to set up their own equipment. So they partner with other environmental groups that do have that space, or aquariums, universities, high schools, so that they're able to host their lab equipment and run their programs. We also have volunteers that partner with other organizations that run a program, and they go out and collect samples and provide those samples for those programs. For instance, the University of Rhode Island's Watershed Watch program, our Rhode Island Surfrider chapter participates directly in that program by collecting samples from ocean beaches. We also have chapters that collaborate directly with agency-run beach programs. Over in Washington State, the Department of Ecology runs a really great seasonal beach program where they work really well with our Surfrider volunteers and other community organizations. They train the volunteers from these organizations so that they're collecting exactly where they're supposed to, using all the right, methodology, following the state's protocols. And the volunteers basically adopt the additional sites that the state wouldn't have the staff capacity to cover otherwise. So it's really been a great collaboration over in Washington. Likewise, in Washington and Tacoma, the chapter doesn't test during the summer, but they test during the off season when the state doesn't run their program anymore. So from, say, mid-September through May, they're out collecting samples and providing information at the exact same site that the state tests. They meet up with the state agency and align exactly that they're testing in exactly the right spot, using all the same, methods for pulling their samples that the state does. During the off season, when they find high test results, they'll share that information with the state, who can then go out and pull their own samples to confirm results and make decisions accordingly. In addition to being able to provide more coverage for beach monitoring on a regular basis, we've also found that our chapter run programs are really able to be more responsive and flexible following natural disasters. For instance, over in Santa Barbara in California, after the Thomas fires really ravaged through the area at the end of 2017, there was these massive rains that followed in January with these mudslides where people were, trapped in the mudslides. While they were trying to dig people out, a lot of the debris from those mudslides were deposited at local beaches. And this was of concern. We had a chapter who was testing at USB there in Isla Vista. They had just a couple of sites they were testing every 2 weeks, but with all this debris ending up at the beach nearby, over here where this yellow indicator is, that's where a lot of the debris was on the beach. They were worried about what the water quality impacts of that might be. And so they reached out to the channel keeper locally, as well as the Department of Health, to figure out who's sampling where, when are they sampling, and let's see if we can divvy this up a little bit. So the county continued to test the beaches over by where the debris were, where that yellow indicator is. Channel keeper took on some of the sites that were closer to the university campus, and then the students were able to pull some additional spots where a lot of students were getting the water and surfing. And the other great thing that the chapter and those students were able to do is they have a really big social media presence and communication, where they were sharing not only their results, but as well as the counties on, what are water quality conditions today. So it was really a great effort following a crisis to meet community needs. Likewise, in Puerto Rico, following Hurricane Maria, you know, there was devastation on the island for months. No electricities, no running water, communications and travel were challenging. But the Rincon Surfrider chapter had been running a very solid water quality monitoring program in the northwest corner of the island for over a decade. Really built a strong reputation on being one of the biggest suppliers of water quality information across the island, and established a lot of good, strong community partners over that decade. So 1 month following the storm, when again, nobody had electricity, water, anything like that, the chapter was able to form a partnership with a local health center to set up their lab equipment, because there was a generator there, which you need to run the equipment. So they were able to resume testing the beaches. And this is long before the agency run program was able to get back up and running. So that was a real value. But once people found out that Surfrider was testing, yes, they were interested in water quality at the beach, but what they really wanted to know about is, well, what's with this water that's coming out of the pipe that we're literally filling up our jugs with to bring home to drink? So we were approached by many different groups on, will you come test the water over here? Will you come test the water over here? And we started doing that because nobody else was. So rather than testing for Enterococcus, we switched it and we're testing for E. coli. And we found that, while some of these community sources of water were relatively clean, some of them really weren't. And these were places where people, hundreds of people were filling up water bottles a day. So we were really able to be flexible and meet a community need there, and in a really bad situation. Just want to leave you with that citizen science programs really can enhance beach programs, providing more coverage and really provide an avenue for agencies to get their information and their messages out into local communities and beachgoers that are using the resource that you're all tasked with protecting. So that's it. My name is my email's here, as well as our web address if you want to look up any of our data or some more case studies on how our programs run. Thank you.